Hello students, this is Dipali. Welcome back to my channel, and in this video you will learn about secondary storage. So let's start this session. The first thing which I would like to tell you what is secondary memory or secondary storage. So secondary storage devices are used to store a large amount of data permanently, because before that we have learned about the primary storage or primary memory, that is your RAM and ROM, in which the data instruction you are storing on the temporary basis only. Fine. In the RAM you have learned and see the differences, that whenever the light is going off, so all the data whatever you have done the work, it is going to be erased, and that particular thing might be happen with you most of the time while you are doing the work on your computer and you haven't saved that particular work. And if the light will go, then when you will again open your computer system, you will find then whatever the work you have done over there, it is going to be erased. Why? Because all the things which you are doing before saving your work, that all the data is saving in your RAM, that is random access memory. And whenever your light is going, and that is power cut is there, power failure is there, whatever the work you have done in that particular thing is going to erase. But if you are going to save your data with the control S command or a saving option, then your data is going to save in your computer system permanently. So that devices are there which is going to store your data permanently, and these devices are known as secondary storage devices. Fine. So that means you are using secondary storage device to use a large amount of data permanently, and which is obviously not possible with your primary or main memories. That means you cannot save your data permanently with the help of RAM and ROM. Fine students. The next point is the amount of data a disk can hold is defined as disk capacity. That means how much data you can hold within that particular device. It can be depend on that particular device capacity, because your data can be measured in terms of bytes, kbs, mbs, and so on. Fine. So might be all of you have seen the CD. That particular CD, it is written that you are able to store the data of 700 MB. That means if you are having the large data which is more than 700 MB, you are not able to store on that particular CD. For that you are requiring the next storage device which is having a more storage capacity. So the amount of disk can hold be defined as a different disk capacity over here, and which can be measured in different kinds of terms. Fine. So let's move on the next slide. The first storage device which we are going to discuss right now is your hard disk. That is the main storage device which all the computer system, that means the hard disk is present in all the computer system. A hard disk is a non-volatile high capacity storage device ranging from 1 GB to several terabytes. Fine. So the size of the hard disk can be different from computer to computer, and it is a non-volatile because we know the meaning of volatile. Whenever the power is going off, data is going to erase. But the non-volatile means if the power is off, still our data is safe. Fine. In the case of power failure also, our data is safe. That is your secondary storage device. Fine. So a hard disk drive or HDD is a non-volatile computer storage device containing magnetic disk or platters rotating at a high speed. Basically in your hard disk there are different components are there, sub segments are there, tracks are there, and your plotters are there. So different units are there in your that hardware device, and then with the help of those particular things your hard disk is working over there. So basically you are not going to learn about the hard disk in a detail. You can just learn that your hard disk is a non-volatile high capacity storage device in which you can store the data, and that can be range from 1 GB to several terabytes. Fine. The next point is a hard disk is also known as hard drive. Fine. So another name of your hard disk is the hard drive. So let's move on the next slide. The second storage device which we are going to discuss today, that is your Blu-ray disc. That is very often that you might have seen the Blu-ray disc, because only few students I am able to see this particular Blu-ray disc. And this Blu-ray disc is an optical disc format such as the CD and DVD. It was developed for recording, rewriting and playing back high definition videos and for storing large amount of data. So we will also discuss about the CDs and DVDs, but first it is written Blu-ray disc, so I am just going to explain you what is the Blu-ray disc. Basically it is also a storage device. We are able to store the data in a Blu-ray disc, but in comparison to CD and DVD, in the Blu-ray disc you can store the high amount of data, because as it is written over here, in the CD you can store up to 700 MB of data at a time, and in a case of DVD you can store 4.7 GB of data on the DVD which are having on single side. And if your DVD is double sided DVD, that is dual layer DVD, in that you can store a data that is up to 8.5 GB. Fine. So that means with a single side DVD we can store a data of 4.7 GB, and with a double side DVD we can store a data of 8.5 GB. But in case of Blu-ray disc, if you are going to store a data on a single side, that is 25 GB. Fine. That means Blu-ray disc can hold up to 25 GB of data. Fine. And then your dual ray Blu-ray disc can store a data of 50 GB. That means if you are going to store a data on both sides of Blu-ray disc which is available, and in that you can store 50 GB of data, which is equivalent to 4 hours of your HD TV, high definition televisions. Fine. So that means Blu-ray disc can store much amount of data, but sometimes one drawback is Blu-ray disc is some system is not going to support the Blu-ray disc. That means when you are going to insert the Blu-ray disc, you might face the problem with different operating system, because they are not able to read that particular disc. Fine. Just now we are going to learn the next storage device, that is your CD. And the CD is also known as compact disc. It is a digital optical disc data storage format that was co-developed by Philips and Sony and released in 1982. So this line I have added from myself, that when it was developed, it was released in 1982, and which was the co-developers developed company, that is Philips and Sony. That you should know, that's why I have mentioned this particular point over here. So it is commonly used to store audio and video data. That means in the CD we can store both audio and video things, and the storage capacity of your CD is 700 MB. So if you want to store more amount, you can go with DVD or your pen drives and so on. So different types of options are available. Fine, students. So the next thing is magnetic tape. In this, magnetic coating are stored as a data on a thin tape. Magnetic tape we were also using in the earlier times. Next is your DVD. So DVD is a digital optical disc, that is digital optical disc storage format, invented and developed in 1995 and released in late 1996. So it is an also optical storage device. So what is the full form of DVD? That is digital virtual disc. Fine. So it is also your optical storage like CD and Blu-ray disc. It can be recorded on a single side or on the double side, as I have already told you. In that Blu-ray disc, its capacity may range from the 4.7 to 8.5 GB, 4.7 on the single side and 8.5 GB on the double side. That means dual DVD. Fine. So the full form can be asked in the exam also, what is DVD, so that you should know digital versatile disc, and CD is compact disc. Now next thing is USB pen drives, that means universal serial bus. It is a small portable memory which can be plugged into a computer with USB ports. So that means your computer is having a USB port. Your laptop you can also find the USB ports. And pen drive, that most of you students have seen the pen drive. It's a little thing which might be your teachers are also using, your parents are also using. So its capacity is less than of the hard disk but more than your floppy and CDs. Fine. So your pen drive can be of 2 GB, 4 GB and 8 GB, then 16 GB. So that is depend according to your usage. You can buy that particular pen drive. What is the advantage of the pen drive? That it is a very small device which we are able to carry easily, because sorry, in the CD and DVD that is little large. That means you cannot kept it easily in your pockets, but pen drive you can carry easily in your wallets, in your pockets, and so on. Next is memory card. It is mainly used with digital cameras, computer, mobile phones, etc. Memory card offer high recording ability with power free storage. That means for the memory card you don't need any kind of power, and basically we are using the memory card with the digital cameras. It might be you have seen the memory cards, and if you have not seen over there, most of you have seen the memory card of your mobile phones. What is the use of memory card? It is going to expand the storage of your mobile. Fine. So that means it is used to expand the storage capacity of your mobile. Suppose your mobile configuration is having that your mobile can hold 32 GB of data, and you are going to insert 8 more GB of pen drive memory card in your mobile phone. That means that mobile phone can store now 40 GB of data. Fine. So mobile phone that memory card is also very tiny things, and it's helpful for storing the data. Next topic is SMPS. Now what is SMPS? SMPS stands for switched mode power supply. So it is the component of the system unit that converts the wall outlet AC power into DC power. Now what is AC power? AC means alternating current and DC means direct current. Fine. Again I am repeating, AC means alternating current and DC means direct current. So that means it convert your AC power into DC power, and the different motherboards and computer system require different voltage on the power supply. Whatever the components are present on your motherboard, so all the things are required different voltage of the power supply. Fine. So if the power supply is not provided the necessary power, the computer will not function properly. If your power supply will not supply the proper power, so all of your system will not work properly in your computer. That is your computer system. If the particular power supply it is not receiving, so it will not perform in the correct manner. So built into power supply is a fan that keeps the power supply cool. So have you observed that in the CPU one fan is there which is used to produce that heat outside of your CPU. So it helps your computer system to remain in a cool state. Fine. So I hope the use of SMPS to clear to all the students. And the next and the last thing which we will cover right now, that is hardware and software. So what is the difference between the hardware and software? Most of you know that the hardware which we are able to see and touch, and the software which we are not able to see and touch. So right now we are going to discuss the detailed difference between the hardware and software. The first difference between the hardware and software is hardware is a set of physical part of computer which actually executes the instructions. That means in the hardware it is helpful for executing the instructions. Fine. Whereas the software is a set of programs and software is a program or set of instruction, you can say, which are to be executed by CPU to do the intended task. That means software is designed for performing the particular task. Fine. Then hardware is manufactured in factories. All the hardware parts are manufactured in the factories, but software is not manufactured in the factories. Softwares are developed by engineers or software developers or software development companies. So a software is developed, engineered by software development companies. So different software is made by the software developers, and different companies are there, those who are developing the softwares. Next point is a hardware can be touched, being a physical electronic device. As I told you, hardware, we can touch the hardware, and software being digital, can be seen but cannot be touched. Software we can see only, we cannot touch the software. Fine. For example, I am giving you the hardware part, that is your CPU. You are able to touch the CPU, but software, MS Office, you cannot touch the MS Office. You just perform the work on that particular software. Fine. The next category is hardware categories is input devices, as we have already discussed, keyboard, mouse, etc. Output devices, your monitor, printer, and storage devices we have already discussed, and internal components of CPU and motherboard. These all are your hardware devices. But software categories are how we are going to categorize the software, that is programming software, application software, your operating system programming software, like your for operating the Java we are using the NetBeans, we are using Python programming, and application software, your MS Office, and your operating system is Windows, Linux, Ubuntu. Fine. So these all are your software categories. And the last point is hardware remain unaffected by virus, because in the hardware component virus cannot attack, but it can be damaged by your physical damage. Fine. So next point is software is affected by virus being primary target. So your software can be affected by the virus. So these all about, that's all about your hardware and software. I hope the difference between the hardware and software is clear to all, because till now the students are learning only the hardware is physical things, and software are only the things which you are able to not see. Fine. So students, that's all about this session. I hope you like this particular video. So just press the like icon. If you haven't subscribed the channel, do subscribe the channel and share it with your friends. Thank you for watching, students.